Hi everyone, and welcome to the first channel to play Tormenta 2020, played in English. Tonight, however, we're not going to be playing. We're just going to be talking about the crowdfunding campaign for the new Tormenta 20 books, which started yesterday and has already hit all the milestones, which means
All of them.
all of them, which means it has raised over R1 million in about 24 hours, which is pretty freaking amazing. And joining us tonight and raising our hype to the very limit is Mr. Leonel Caldela, the author of several novels in many different genres, but he's also one of the authors of Tormenta.
How's it
And
going,
those
guys?
books he's showing.
Oh my god. Those are all the books I have. I think there are at least two that I don't have it here with me in Canada, but yeah, you guys get the idea.
I have problems, so I do write a lot. But guys, I am so happy to be here. I'm so hyped up. I've watched your stream like twice because I cannot get organized. But I love so much that you're like playing Tormenta in English. I think it's our first step towards breaking that Portuguese language barrier.
Yeah.
That we
Alex,
have
just before we
many people, but so many people don't understand it.
just a quick thing. People are saying that there's a lot of echo in the audio, and there actually is. I just heard it. Yeah. Better to solve this now before we say too much.
That is true.
Is it mine? No,
Don't think so.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't hear the audio, the echo with us.
Yeah, it's insane. Like I can actually hear myself, and then the delay, and after that the delay. Groovy. It's a bit weird.
This
Yeah, it's still happening. Yeah, people are saying that you might have the stream open and you might be getting audio directly from that.
nope.
Nope.
Actually, yeah, I do have that.
Oh, there you go.
Mr. Saul.
okay.
There you go.
So yeah, I actually had two reasons to have feedback there, and I just solved them. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupting you, Leonel. Please do go on.
No, I was just rambling too. It's like I was thanking you guys. It's so cool to be here, and I think your stream is like amazing because we are breaking the barrier.
You're gonna have to say that again because apparently you have no audio now.
Oh, dude, come on.
Welcome to Only One CV, where everything goes wrong in the first 10
Why
minutes.
did you choose this name?
We brought it upon us, yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys cannot hear me at all.
Oh, we can hear you, but the people cannot.
How's that now?
Okay, now we're good. Yes. Yes, end of times.
Yeah, dude, I'm
So
just
that's
gonna say
how the
hi.
book ends?
Thank you so much. That's it.
So good. So good. Now you say again how awesome we are and all that.
Yeah, I was talking about like these guys are so awesome and they are helping us break the barrier. You know how you feel like a little bit silly when you say 3 times the same hype stuff, but I'm gonna persevere. It's like these guys are helping us break the Portuguese language barrier. My goal is to have at least Tormenta in English and in German because those languages are cool.
All right.
Yes, German is so cool.
Definitely
I wish it was a real language though, because it's clearly made up by someone.
Alex, I think
it's
this
a
means
torture device.
Yeah.
Alex, I think this means we need to bring Mickey on at some point so it can.
I was going to say, like, I can't help you with German at all. Not even like I can say Danke.
You have a
That's
German
all.
friend though.
Yeah.
That's true.
We can invest in that, though. Like, I mean, just say the word.
But that's it. Thank you so much.
Dude, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
You know, when we heard the call that you made on the original End of Times, Fim dos Tempos stream, we were like, all right, we're gonna have to do this in English. There's no other way.
Yeah. This is the way, dude.
This is the way.
How excited are you? Like, you said you didn't expect it. I kind of did, but because I was like, I'll try to personally move that that ticking bar upwards if I have to. Like, but yeah, it was amazing the speed you got it through. Like,
yeah, we were not like we have, I don't know how much I have to contextualize. Like we have 5 authors. 5 the main team is like 5 authors, and we have a bunch of other writers working with us and other creatives like Victor and the artists. But of the 5 authors, Carsaro, which is one of the main idea guys in the beginning, he was very optimistic. He was, no, this is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a huge success. And I was like, dude, you cannot. It's not gonna be the same, because we have done a huge crowdfunding campaign, like actually the biggest one in Brazil at the time. And I it was not that I thought. I knew it was not gonna be the same, because at that time we were doing like the core book, and we were like getting away from a lot of sacred cows from D20, and okay, I thought this is not gonna be the same. We are doing deep lore books. Like one of them is Atlas. Do people say that in English? Like the geography book you have in school. It's like the Atlas of Arton, and the other one is Threats of Arton. The first one is like the world. It's a huge book with lots of details, with ancient history, with geography, with the culture and superstition. It's like a lot of stuff. And the other one is more like monsters and playable races and more content, like game content. And I thought, okay, these are splat books. These are not car books. So you're not gonna get the same experience. And one of our main campaign coordinators, Karen, I Englishicize the names. Karen, I call her Karen in English. She thought, no, I wanna break the main goal, which was 350,000 in 24 hours. And I thought, that's crazy. It's never gonna happen. It's never ever gonna happen. These are deep lore books. We're gonna catch our main hardcore audience, and that's it. And that's fine. That's perfect, because we love the hardcore people. It's like our main target is always the core group, and then we spread, because those people were with us from the beginning, and et cetera, et cetera. But I thought, okay, this is it. This is kind of it for these books. And I was that wrong, and thankfully. And not only is our hardcore group much wider now, which I honestly did not know. We are getting to other people, to people who know Tormenta, got to know Tormenta with Tormenta 20 like a couple of years ago, and they fell in love with it. And this is so amazing for me, this is so surprising. I thought this was gonna be a niche thing, and it's getting widespread. So yeah, I did not expect it at all. I thought it was, and I did not expect to fail. I thought we were gonna, be successful. But I thought, okay, maybe in a month we're gonna get all the extended goals, all the other rewards, and we'll be happy. But yeah, that did not happen. That in 36 hours we've got all of our goals, and now we are actually figuring out other stuff, and we're gonna ask the community.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to ask, like, immediately after.
Like I honestly I don't know why you thought otherwise, because like I've been playing Tormenta since I was a kid, like more than 20 years ago for sure. I remember buying the original O Reinado, the Kingdom books at the newspaper stand. Like I didn't buy it on a used books facility, anything like that. Like, not that there's anything wrong, but I know people who bought it like 10 years later. I know people who still find them nowadays. That's awesome. Exactly. And I was like, yeah, this is great. I want more. I want a lot more. And then you guys said, okay, we're going to do the Atlas. And I was like, yeah.
We've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, this book, people have been asking for it and waiting for it for 20 years, like literally 20 years. It was the books that Victor alluded to. It's like there were 3 thin books. It was another gaming system like 3D&T. 3D&T is a different system that Casaro came up with, and they were collected in a big hardbound book. But this was in 2002, I think, or 3. And since then, a lot of stuff has happened. And we had like a reduced team, and this team had a lot of things to do, like from running the actual publishing house, to writing novels in my case, to moving the setting forward. So it was the prospect of actually doing this book again was so absurdly time consuming that it was just impossible. I have done, in the meantime, I think 12 years ago, I have done like a huge game book that was a guide for my first trilogy of novels. And yeah, this book is massive. But since it had to do with, those are the novels. Since it had to do with my novels, it was much easier because I had the content in my head, and I could consult my own books. This is not it. This is not just a thick book. It deals with all the setting, and it was just impossible. We had to actually build a foundation. Jambô, which is the publishing house, I'm so proud of it because I was a translator. I got on literally on the ground floor, which the stories, I talk a lot. I'm so sorry, you guys have to interrupt me.
No, it's okay.
Because I do
here.
But it's like my partners, Guilherme and Rafael, they're brothers. And Guilherme was a semi-professional Magic the Gathering player. And Rafael is a judge. And Guilherme had won, I think, a road tournament. And had won some cash. Like a cash prize. And with this cash, he bought a computer. Like a top-of-the-line computer. And this computer could be used to actually do the books. So with that money, with that tournament money, prize money, Jambô started. Because he needed the machine to actually be able to work on the book.
That's crazy.
This Jambô was inside his bedroom. It was his bed. Then there was a little desk and a chair. and we would have our meetings there.
That's
And I
amazing.
translate. Yeah, that's crazy. I translated the first book. They got a license with a small D20 publishing house in the US when the D20 was exploding everywhere. And I translated it. I was jobless at the time, and just trying to get by. And I remember to this day, I was paid 80 reais for the job because that was like all the cash the publishing house had. And from that, from like the computer and us three and the bedroom, like today, Jambô has dozens of workers. We have a kind of big team, and part of this team is our art director Dan, who is an amazing guy, amazing artist and has amazing eye. We have editors. We have a chief editor which is Karen, and we have writers. And all this made possible for us to tackle a project that's so huge. I've lost count of how many people have worked just on the creative part of this project. I think it's easy to say we are at 10 writers if you get all and plus game designers. We've actually managed to get a game designing team, which they were fanatic players, and they knew all the rules because they would play all the time, sometimes multiple times a day. We call this Camila's team because Camila is the wife of one of my colleagues, Trevisan, in Tormenta, and she's like the biggest Tormenta fan in the world.
I would like to dispute that.
You have to fight it out, dude.
I would like to dispute that, but okay. For the sake of the argument, please do go on.
And her people, her group, they actually turned into our official game designers, working under one of our main guys, Rafael, which is the guy from the story. And we had to go through this 20 years of history and of building to be able to do this project. And I actually thought, you guys can make fun of me, I actually thought, okay, even so, we're not there yet. It's gonna be a niche thing. But no, it's kind of turning big. And I'm so happy because this is actually the product of a lot of work, like literally 20 years. I didn't actually think it was gonna be possible. One time, a long time ago, I was gonna answer a fan online who asked, when are we gonna have a book about all the world? And I wanted to tell him, like, never, because it's impossible, it's too big. But we're here.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations, man. We are also excited for that.
We're also happy to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I can speak as one of those newer fans. Like I had heard of Tormenta. Obviously, it was like inescapable in my youth. But I did play some 3D&T. But at the time, I just didn't know like enough people to play it, as RPG fans usually tend to be. But yeah, and I was always like looking in from the outside, like I got some references and everything, and then this guy Alex started talking about, and another friend Andrea, about Tormenta 20, and I picked up the first book, and I was like, oh shit, gonna get hooked to it. Yeah, like
Oh yeah,
I
it's
started like
dangerous.
just from reading how character building works and how deep the lore was, which of course it was because you, like you said, been working at it for 20 years plus. I was, yeah, that's my jam. And I actually happy that I got here at this time where things are bursting that bubble, like maybe not being from outside the bubble, but far enough that I had to, wait for it, and now things are just happening, and to be part of it's really nice. I'm lucky.
I'm happy.
Not luckier than lucky, but
Yeah, you know what's funny actually? Like, we started to get together to play Tormenta 20 in English last year, actually before the introductory kit was released on Roll20. I think it was you, Leonel, who translated it to English, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
actually started before that, and then when it came out, we were like, yeah, so if you want to check it out, check Roll20, it's awesome. I'm gonna use this moment to do a shout out to our introduction to Tormenta in English that I did, the presentation that I did back when we did our first end of time session in
Check on our YouTube channel.
Or February, I don't remember anymore. But it's on our
February.
YouTube channel. It's a short video, very short video, like with the introduction on how Tormenta started to be being published and how it grew. If you want to contextualize all the names that Leonel just said, you can find most of them on that video as well.
It's called Tormenta 101. Check it out.
101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
This
did
is
some
it's
translation
actually
before, so yeah.
it's actually a good time to be a Tormenta player. The things are happening. But you said that you were from the outside looking in. It was actually my experience as well, because I am like a dinosaur. I've been playing for 31 years now, and when Tormenta, history lesson once again. There was an RPG magazine called Dragão Brasil, which we had a lot of them, but they always lasted until issue 3, because it was when the sales from the first issue came back, and then people said, okay, this does not work, and then they all got canceled. And Dragão Brasil went on to number 111 in hard copy, and then again, it's currently being published online. But Dragão Brasil started in 94, and I had been playing for 2 years when it started. And so I turned my nose, yeah, that's trash. I hate this. I'm a veteran, like all good, like 16-year-olds, but 15-year-olds. But I bought it religiously. I said that I did not like it, but I loved it, and I collected it, and I have all of them right here in this office. And I had my preferences. We played a lot of AD&D, and I loved Dragonlance, and so I had my classics, let's say. And when Tormenta started in 99, I was set in my ways, like a 19-year-old can be. And I was a very old 19-year-old. And I said, okay, this is not for me. No, it's not for me. But there were 2 things that I loved, absolutely loved. One was a city. It was published in 95, Dragão Brasil. It was called Triunfos. It was a city which, if you died there, you came back to life, but you had to stay there, or else if you crossed the wall, you died, and no one could bring you back. And but okay, this is not so bad. But the city was constantly being attacked by a giant bird. And so if you went there, to do some business, you had the risk of dying there. and then you were. And the bird only attacked that city. I thought it was so cool. And I actually argued with my friends at the time because, no, this is actually cool. And then, no, this is trash. No, it's cool. We were 16. And the second thing was the Tormenta, the Crimson Storm, which for me, it was amazing because it had a little bit of the Lovecraftian feel that I like, the elder gods and stuff. But the imagery for me, it was cooler, with insects and burning blood. And for me, what caught me was that when the storm, descended on a place, it stayed there, and that place got corrupted. And this for me, I don't know why, but this for me was amazing because I thought, what about the people who live there? Did they die? Or how are their ghosts like? Were they corrupted? Are they slaves? Are they serving the enemy now? What's happening? This for me was always cool, and I used to DM Dragonlance campaign that time, and we were approaching the end of the campaign, and I told one person, I'm gonna do a second campaign next year. I never did, but I told him I'm gonna do a second campaign next year. In this campaign, there's gonna be a Tormenta in Dragonlance because this is so cool, and I was gonna mix things up, but it did not happen. Then when I used to say, like I said, I'm not a fan. Okay, Tormenta is cool, the city is cool, but not for me. Not a fan. But then I actually got to read the book that Victor was talking about. The big book with the kingdom, all the realms, all the lands. And I borrowed it from Jambô. It was a bookstore at the time. And I borrowed it 2003. I have not given it back yet.
Man, those late fees are going to be insane.
It's right there. It's right there. Still time. And I got to read it. And I go, okay, but now this thing's amazing. Because there was Brazilian people who are watching us know what I'm about to say. But for all the others, all people who don't know our culture, Brazilians tend to balk at consuming Brazilian stuff. We love our music. We love our soap operas, our soccer. I hate soccer, but people love soccer, our soccer, and that's it. Brazilian movies are considered terrible. Brazilian books are considered unreadable. And everything that comes from Brazil, Brazilians think it's bad. We have a lot of cases of Brazilian authors who have to actually publish under a different name, a pseudonym, that sounds foreign, just to be able to be read, And there's I think an American author. His name is Daniel Silva. He did not catch on in Brazil because his name sounds Brazilian. He's not Brazilian, but a Brazilian sounding name is enough for people not to want to read you.
That's insane.
And so
That's insane.
Yeah, it's bonkers. And so people, and I was a part. I was never that prejudiced, but I was a part of that group more or less. I thought, no, it's simplistic. If it comes from a Brazilian RPG magazine, it's simplistic. It's like good versus evil, and the heroes win. And okay, there's 5 heroes that are good and 5 villains that are bad. And when I actually got to read this book, The Kingdom, I thought it was not none of that was true. It was so rich. It had a lot of details, a lot of culture, and it had. This is gonna sound like a backhanded compliment, but I swear it is not. It's actually just a compliment. But it had a lot of potential that I did not. It seemed to me that the authors, I was not one of the authors, of course, the authors had not realized yet, like how deep those things were. Like there's this god Thetis, Chachis. He's the god of resurrection and the god of prophecy. Those things do not mesh together. And though his paladins, they come back to life, and it was almost sounded like a detail that they put there and had not yet had the time to explore it. For me, this was so rich, so deep. Why is it the god of prophecy and resurrection? For me, okay, it's god of second chances. It's god that lets you try again. And coming back to life, what's this person mind? How does a person that always comes back to life? How does his think? How do they think? And if a friend dies, what's that for them? And it was all that was there. And there's this big historical event in the history of Arton, which is the Battle of Fort Emmerich, which is there was an Tormenta zone. I don't know how we translated this. Formed in a kingdom, and the queen, managed to gather the army of the whole continent to go fight it, and they lost terribly. And it was like now there was this wound in the soul of the kingdom, and I read that and it was, oh my God, why did I think this was shallow? Why did I think this was throwaway? It's not. This hooked me. This changed me. This book actually changed me from not a hater. I was never a hater, but like an outside person. Yeah, non-believer. Perfect. A non-believer. From to a believer. To a fan. And I think this is like something. This book was something special, and now it's coming back. It sounds like a marketing spiel, but it's actually what happened. This book is actually the new edition of that book that brought me in. Then it's so cool.
It is. It's
That's
super
really cool.
It's amazing. I can relate to like most of what you said from being a young, like prejudiced kid, like not to hate the stuff that came from Brazil, but to think that exact same thing. Like they don't have enough resources. I mean, they're not as good as the product from outside. And then eventually started to actually, consuming it and saying, well, look at that.
Yeah.
Like fuck the resources. They know what they're doing, and let's try to like help it. And yeah.
Yeah. And it's amazing that that original book was 3 people that did all that.
It's insane.
amazing.
It's insane
This
what
is
they did back then.
insane. I do not know how they managed to do it. Casaru is a robot alien from the future programmed to, make content like a maniac. But even so, I do not know how they managed to do it.
Bless him.
Yeah. I have a question, Leonel.
Sure.
So all the goals are gone now. We're past them. Which one is your favorite, and why?
My favorite.
Your favorite.
It's tough to say. I have 2.
Okay.
One is the knightly orders, because as people who've read my books know, I love the concept of knights.
Do you?
Yep, weird stuff, right? Who'd have thunk? But actually, I've I have a lot of stories, and none of them matter, but I like to tell them. When I started playing RPGs, I loved the rogue characters, not necessarily rogues like the class, but the Han Solo, the outlaw characters.
Right.
And there was this one gaming system. It was called Macton. It was a mecha anime system. And on that, you had the option of rolling your whole character, including his personality and appearance. And you could also not do that, but it was more fun to do it. So we did it. We always used to roll our characters and the whole personality stuff. And the first one I rolled it came up like goody two shoes to end all goody two shoes. The guy was honest. He was concerned about puppies, and he was always sorry for stuff. And he was, oh my god, I cannot believe I'm gonna role play this bastard. But it was what it was. And I started to play him, and I fell in love with him. And it was so cool because everyone was trying to be edgy. And I was not. I was the dork. And it was so cool to be good, And so I started to fall in love with actually lawful good characters. And I started to play paladins, and I started to read Superman comics and all that corny stuff, and I love it. And part of that is knights, because of course you have like all revisionist stories of knights, but I always found the traditional stories to be actually cooler, with knightly values and all of that idealized stuff. And I actually fell in love with it because of that fluke. And I did a paper in college about medieval literature with Lancelot, and then okay, there was in Tormenta this knightly order that was the Order of Light, and it was like a small part of the setting. It was not negligible. It had been a cover of a magazine. Trevisan actually came up with it and created the structure and the characters, but it was just one part. And when I got to do the novels, I thought, now I can bring this to the forefront. So everyone was a knight in the books. And it was, I love a concept of Arthurian lore. That's the best knight in the world. They actually call it that, the best knight, which is not the strongest knight, but it was the knight that most embodies the knightly values. And God, in the Arthurian cycle, actually favors him for that, and he always wins. So Lancelot was the best knight. Then Lancelot, got with Guinevere, and then his son Galahad was the best knight. And then Percival, which is also my dog, he was the best knight because he was from a humble household. And I love this concept. And I actually got to use it in my second novel. That's Alan Torren is the leader of the Order of Light. And people say he's the best knight in the world. And when we actually did his character sheet for an RPG book after the novels, Guilherme and I actually sat down and discussed what is the concept of the best knight in the world in Tormenta? And so this is fascinating for me. So I am very, very eager to write this extended goal of the knightly orders. Of course, I'm gonna write Order of Light. There's the Order of Calmer. It's a monastic order. There's a small order that Chappie, our player in End of Times Brazilian edition, came up with. There's Order of Redemption. It was like just the dregs of society, you know, just the worst people. It's recruiting them and trying to redeem them. There's the Knights of the Crown. Which was so anachronistic, and I love it. It's like SAS and special forces in Tormenta, and they are an offshoot of the books as well, the novels. And I had forgotten about it, but actually my character in another campaign, another canonical campaign, he was a member of the Order of the Lion, which is a small order. True. It's only one kingdom, and it's not glamorous, but it's there. So I'm gonna try to put it there.
Of course, as you should.
Yeah. And the other stuff is adventuring life. We have been discussing this inside the team for months. Like, what is an adventurer's life? People who play with me and who talk to me are sick of hearing me say, walking in the woods, walking in the wilderness sucks. The ground is not level. Your feet hurt and your back hurts, and you are always with the same people, and you cannot take a shower, you cannot take a bath, and you are always hurting. Like, imagine an athlete, an MMA athlete, he's always hurting, and he fights like once every 3 months, perhaps. An adventurer fights like every week. He's always hurting. I don't care if the cleric heals you, you are always hurting. What is that? What is living like that? And I think about this stuff because it's not normal. It's not a banal existence. And so I want to actually write about this, about what is adventuring life. What is like not having a home, you know? In End of Times, I push it's not mandatory, but I push the group to have a home because for me this is it doesn't ring true that you never get to go home. But most adventurers do not have a home. It's always traveling. What is that like? But the only things you have are things on your back. What is that like? You know, who do you belong to? Where do you belong to? Who is your family when you do not have a home? I find this stuff fascinating. When I was know-it-all teenager, we tried to negate all that stuff who did not mesh with our small knowledge of medieval life. We tried to ignore it or fix the fantasy settings so they fit into this idea of medieval, of like actual Middle Ages. But since then, it's been a long time. Since then, I changed my mind. I think we should not try to negate it. We should not try to change it. We actually should value what's different. We actually should take this stuff seriously because this is the reality of our games. Like, people do adventure. People do travel all the time, and they do not have homes, and they have a very close-knit group of friends that they fight with, and they are always hurt. And these friends, that's a fighter, a cleric, a wizard, a rogue, they're all different people, you know, and you are always with them. If you're a cleric, you do not have your cleric friends with you. You have these weirdos with you. What is that like? You know, I think I think it's more interesting to actually bring the stuff to the forefront. And for that, I look forward to writing the stuff. In both these sections, there's boring stuff. But then I'll let Guilherme write the boring stuff. I write
Of course. That's what you do. Yeah, that's awesome.
At least he's honest.
Yeah. I look forward to both of those and the others. Like, yeah.
I'm really excited for all the milestones we got, man. Excited for what the people are asking for too. I was like on the last, when they did the last tweet for the last milestone, they asked the people on Twitter what they wanted to see, and there's a lot of recurring themes there. Like people were talking about culinary and cooking a lot. People were talking about distinctions, which were the kind of like the prestige classes in a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Worlds of the Gods came up a lot from what I looked at.
Yeah.
No, but the best one are the people who are asking for a musical notation thing for Arton.
That
That's
also
the
came up?
best one. That's the one that I like the most.
You guys know about this. You
They
guys no, dude, tell them. Just tell them. You know, you have to.
Yeah. So the reason people mention that is because Leonel said this on the stream when the campaign went live. Because many months ago, I actually wrote that. Like I came up with a different musical notation system that makes sense in the Tormenta lore. Like it does not make sense outside of it. It has to be in there for it to actually work. And it's translatable-ish with some work to whatever we have in the real world. I decided to, like, for example, a 12 equal temperament system because of that. But it doesn't borrow much from what we have in real life. I was trying to come up with something that would make sense inside the culture. And then I sent it to Trevisan way back then. And then after a few weeks, Leonel was like, man, I read that. That's awesome. And, you know, it would be very cool if that got it somewhere.
Yeah, I have been fighting for that since then. Because you know how you when I don't know, when you're starting to, when you're a child and you're starting to learn how to read, you read a word and oh my god, I'm so smart, I read a word. I'm like that with music because I don't know anything. And I do not know how to play that guitar, but I try and I am learning. And so every single small piece of music theory and every single small it's blows my head. And it was so cool to me to actually try to understand it and to, with my extremely limited knowledge, to know that it does make sense.
It does.
You know, even for someone who doesn't know anything, it does make sense. And for me, that adds to the reality of the world. So I have been fighting for that. If it does not enter, it's because people that hate you did not let
No, that's I'm used to that already. You have been saying that I need to end since 2018, so that's something that I'm already dealing with. There's for our non-Brazilian friends, including Sydney, there's this meme inside the Tormenta fandom that Victor Lucky has to end, and this started with this distinguished gentleman back in 2018, and it has been a meme since then, and it's probably gonna be a meme for a few years.
forever.
That's fine. I laugh at that. It's all good. Yeah. Like his autograph on my Flecha de Fogo actually mentions it. I'm not gonna open it right now, but it does. So yeah, that's how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah, it's like because I used to be a regular on a podcast that we did, and I'm not anymore because I've negotiated to start Game Master instead. But when I was, Victor used to always ask us questions. When we anyone has questions, we used to put it on Facebook and like any questions. And Victor used to always put questions, and his questions were always so good. And then we would read them, and his name, I did not know him yet. His name would come up a lot every episode. And there was this internet show that was very famous at the time, Choque de Cultura, that everything they said like young people have to end, like o jovem tem que acabar, like young people have to end, and it's everything in Brazil for that period of time has to end. And so one time Trevisan, which was one of the authors of Tormenta, we have a question from Victor Lucky. And I said, okay, Victor Lucky has to end. And people, for some reason, they ran with it. And, every single time, if people say, no, Victor cannot end, Victor has to end.
Yeah. And it's funny because the first time that I actually went on the podcast, Leonel was there as well. And he said it live on my presence. I was heartbroken for weeks later after that. It was an awful experience, and I didn't get over it yet. I just brought you here to tell you that, by the way, just to be clear.
Okay. I'm so sorry, man.
No worry, man. I love it when people do that. And it's funny because I'm still doing the voiceover for a new series that Jambô is doing on the Tormenta lore, which everyone should watch because it's pretty cool. And I do it in character. I'm not playing myself. I'm playing a character. And people in the comments sometimes say like, "Oh, character's name has to end as well." So the poor guy now has to end because of me. I feel guilty about it, but not really.
The oldest elf in the Artonian existence has to end.
Yeah. Well, I don't like that meme that much though. I think people got lost in the character a little bit, but there's also the meme that Tormenta fans don't like elves for some reason. I actually quite like them. Leonel, I have a question. It's kind of a personal question related to this very stream that we're in. How was it for you to know that there was a group of people playing Tormenta 20 in English on the internet?
Yeah. I still cannot believe it, actually. I still think your guys are, this is all a hoax. But no, for real. This is so cool because, well, when you're a writer, the work is very lonely. You're always by yourself writing. I do like to work alone. It's okay for me. But at some point you feel like you are, I don't know, you are talking to the walls. Kind of seems, it kind of starts to seem weird that people are actually reading, because for most of the time you don't see it. But I managed to get over this and to make my peace with the fact that people actually do read the books. But for me, the most amazing stuff is not that people read the books, even though I love every single one of my readers. It's that people play the game. Like if I put something in a game, in an adventure, or in a core book, people actually use it and play it, and they create with it. Going a little bit like wanky literature stuff, one of my favorite definitions of literature is like it's a conversation, because you have a conversation throughout the centuries. It's a conversation between author and reader and author when the feedback comes, and throughout the years with different authors. If you read someone, they influence you, and you put that to your readers, and your readers bring it back to you, and it is, even though it is lonely to work that way, it's actually kind of shared. And it's personal, because you do not have the team around you, it's not so large as like an audiovisual, a movie or TV show, so it's more, it feels more personal. And RPGs bring that, for me at least, they bring that to the forefront, because you actually you do not get to tell your audience what this thing is supposed to be. You tell them the basis, and they read it and they work it out, and they put out their version. And like, what this is supposed to be is up to them, is up to you guys. So for me, it's, even after all these years, it's still fascinating and mind-boggling to think that people actually play with the stuff that we write. And of course, this is very, very human tribe way of thinking, but it starts to seem weirder and more fantastical the farther away from your home it starts to get. I remember, to this day, I remember the first time a reader from the northeast of Brazil reached out to me.
I was a reader from the northeast of Brazil.
Yeah, but you were not the first, dude. João Paulo was the first.
Damn it, João Paulo, I'll find you.
João Paulo's nickname is the Goat.
Oh,
So,
yeah, everyone
you know,
knows
did
him.
found him. Yeah.
Everyone knows him.
Everyone, he's a famous guy. But I used to live in the very south of Brazil. And then in the northeast, it kind of starts to seem more, more special, more fantastical. And so to think that people actually from other countries, from other cultures, are starting to connect with the stuff, it's, I don't know, it's a little bit, it gets me a chill. It's a little bit surreal, but also validating, because it's we never know if the stuff we create it's gonna be like limited to this culture, And actually, I've never said that. It's so cool. This campaign that you guys are playing, End of Times. This is my attempt to pick up something from American culture and digest it through a Brazilian, and put it out there, because it's supposed to be. It's not, of course, not the same. It's not exactly, but it's supposed to be inspired by Appalachian fantasy.
Oh man, man,
it's like Americana. I think those stuff is so cool. Those cryptids, and like this is so cool. And for me, it's like, oh my god, so exotic. And this is like a small part of a very specific type of fantasy that I tried to put it in Tormenta. And now it's in English. It's cool.
Man, like it's insane, because I've known lots of myths from Appalachia since a long time ago. I love this stuff, but I recently found some podcasts and websites, and I'm way too deep on it right now. Like it's pretty much all I read and listen to the past 3 to 4 weeks. It's Appalachia. There's Appalachia that I'm like, man, I'm so glad I live in the Pacific Northwest, because that stuff is scary.
Yeah, no, Pacific Northwest, you just have serial killers.
It's fine. I can do that. I can do that. It's okay.
That's the second season of the campaign is serial killers. It's like city and serial killers.
I'm not scared of that, because I live too up north to be threatened by the American serial killers, and I live way too south to be, scared of the British Columbian serial killers. They're all up there in the province, so I'm cool.
So what do you have, moose? Like,
I don't think we have moose this south, but maybe we do have pumas, like coyotes, bears, lots of bears. I'm terrified of bears, like
Okay.
big time. And I've seen them. And they're very scary.
Leonel was like, noted.
Yeah. No, but coyotes they get in the city sometimes. Bears, black bears usually. Grizzly, not that much. And yeah, pumas, wolves, yeah, the good stuff. And
So I have-
you know, maybe the Sasquatch, but
Bigfoot.
Always.
Leonel, I have a question for you, which I don't know if I can or should ask you, but do we know anything about this getting written in English? Because I remember there was a time when, there was the Roll20 thing and bringing it a companion to like in English for people to play and stuff. Even the thing you translated, right, for Roll20, the first adventure that was put out and stuff.
Yeah. It's still going on. I do not know all the details. What I know is this. Roll20 actually came to us because of the previous crowdfunding campaign. Because Tormenta was exploding so much, and it was actually showing up on the top 10 lists of most played RPGs in their platform. And it was Portuguese language, it was very limited. We have a lot of players in Brazil, but even though it's the language is a barrier. And so they came up to us and they said, we want to launch Tormenta in English, and this is one of the top 10 RPGs in the world, and we were so happy. And we came up with the intro kit, but even though Jambô, the publishing house, has grown a lot since those times, we still have like a limited team, and life happened in the sense that some projects that we took on proved to be more than the team could do in parallel. So we had to prioritize. And then we had like a translation team. We still have them working on Tormenta in English, but our editors had to focus elsewhere.
Okay.
Because business stuff. Even if I were to review everything that I know, that was nothing secrets, just business stuff, I cannot explain it because this is not my part of the deal. And so we had to. This is taking way longer than we wanted to. We still have a relationship with them, like great relationship with them. With, as far as I know, we are moving forward with this, but at one time, looked like this was gonna be very, very much faster than it actually is. It's not. No one. Screwed the pooch. No one was left on the job. Plus, everything is going okay on all sides. But I think all sides also had a lot of unpredictable stuff.
Yeah, there's too much going on.
Yeah, and the pandemic, of course.
Yeah.
I would never, ever, ever in a million years say that there were good sides of a global pandemic. Of course not. What I'm gonna say is, in the middle of that tragedy, a lot of people turned to Roll20 and streams to help them. Yeah. And so Roll20 had a huge growth from like a few months. I don't know, doubled in size. and it became, I think, I know nothing about their internal way of working, but I think they needed time to organize. Jambô also had this a little bit. Our streams shut up, and we hired more people, and we had to. Of course, none of us were even like 1,000,000% of the work that the health workers and essential workers were doing. I'm not saying that, but I think we had our way of contributing as well, and for that we needed to organize. That is to say, I do not know when it is coming. I know that it is coming, and I know that Roll20 has always treated us very well, like extremely well. Our the higher ups always talk to us. It's never we were never like put off. We were never so down the line. It's always the higher ups, and they are always very attentive and always they seem very competent and like actually great creative and business people. But I think this stuff is more complicated than I thought.
Yeah. We've been playing with parts of the book were translated by Alex and Moina.
Yeah, you can use it, by the way.
that's how we've been playing so far. We even have Sydney here with us. She was the first person to GM a Tormenta 20 campaign in English on stream, or a first American person to DM a Tormenta 20 one shot. I think it was a one shot, wasn't it, in English?
Yeah, it was a one shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. I think that's
so cool.
Pretty
That's
amazing.
so cool.
So if you have any complaints, Sydney, about the system, you can direct them to this fellow here.
I was actually going to ask Leonel next if he had any questions for Sydney regarding like an American trying to play this system that came from Brazil.
I actually did. Does it feel different to play like a system or a setting made by another people from another culture? What do you think?
Definitely, there was an adjustment with the system, with playing, and especially with DMing. Just like, I think it was after I DM'd it where I was like, yeah, there's still rules that I'm making mistakes on or I'm forgetting. And I'm like, oh, right, I've listened to over 400 hours of D&D content, and then I've played maybe 10 hours of this.
I get it.
So there was a little disconnect, but culturally, I don't know, because I haven't played like modules before or anything from the books typically when I play or when I DM my own games. So I don't know if culturally I noticed a huge difference. There's definitely like reoccurring themes I'm noticing in like End of Times. It definitely is interesting to see that a lot of, just the whole thing with the Tormenta too is just very fascinating and interesting. I'm like, I don't understand it incredibly well, but I just am kind of going in with like, let's see what happens. Let's try not to die.
Yeah,
That's the right attitude.
we used to have, I don't think that exists anymore, but we used to have like the stereotype that Brazilian players like less rules, and we thought that American players liked more rules, but I don't think this is actually is true, because I've always liked rules.
I think that's got to be a thing that varies from player to player, because like
Yeah.
I love to just be like, oh, they're causing shenanigans. You know what? Go ahead and give me like a persuasion check or give me like a performance check. And I just love to add those extra levels of like, how chaotic can we make this just by one bad dice roll? Or how amazing can this go if it's like, oh, you rolled a natural 20. It's like, great, they are fully convinced you are a halfling, even though you are a 9-year-old boy.
Oh, so you like the chaos, Sydney? Good to know. It's gonna get a lot weirder.
Rules within the chaos.
Oh, it's gonna get weird. Like I had this, I made this character once I never got the chance to play it because the campaign kept get delayed, and it's all Dan Ramos's fault. He's the art director for Jambô, and he was going to DM for us. And I did this character who was a cleric of Nimb. Nimb is the god of chaos, good and bad luck. And I rolled the whole character sheet. I did minor tweaks to make it playable, but I wanted to do very weird stuff. And I was like, man, let me make like multiple character sheets. I can keep just the attributes and roll everything like 10 to 20 times, and it falls on one. I play with a 3D and T character sheet because I want to do crazy stuff, and they were like, "No, man, that's too complicated." No, but I can manage. No, that's too weird, man. People are not ready for my whole power. You know, the 100% Victor Lucky power. People are not ready for that.
Look, we played Shadowrun,
love
so
to
after
see
that, and nothing is that weird, you know.
Nothing
Yeah,
is
Shadowrun
too complicated.
Was a
Shadowrun
a
is
fever
weird.
dream, man.
I've actually played Shadowrun. That we had our characters and then it got to a place that there were I don't know, mecha, and then we switched to BattleTech, and I
yeah.
did not know how to play either. And it was so weird, but I still remember it.
It's in the same vein.
Alex has been pitching that to me because I was DMing the Shadowrun campaign we wrote like when pandemic hit, and yeah, we struggled with it. But yeah, we did a Shadowrun campaign in Brazil because there is a scenario for it, and we loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So great.
Good times.
Eating pão de queijo in between the missions.
Bless.
What I do want to say is that, from my part, like what I can do to help this setting that I love so much grow in the place that where I live, I think that would be awesome. Because honestly, I don't have any hopes, like actual hopes of ever playing role-playing games in person with like actual people around me ever again. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't think that's gonna happen. And it would be awesome to have like people here who play it as well for me to try again.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I have to move there, dude.
yeah, you should.
It's not
Right?
true.
Is tomorrow good for you?
Yeah, it is actually.
There you go. And you know, I know that it's probably gonna take a while for us to have Tormenta 20 in English, and yeah, Valcent, she's always on the original End of Times chat. She's here today, and she said that one of the extended goals should be fly everyone to Canada to play with me. I fully
will
support
upgrade
this
my
idea.
pledge for this. Yes,
I
will
fully
upgrade
support
my
this
pledge.
idea. I think that's awesome. If you guys want to meet in Washington State, like I can cross the border as well, that's fine. I have no problems with that. I was actually in Seattle last weekend, so that's fine. So I know it's gonna take a while before we actually have the whole book in English, but and I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I'm gonna start a campaign for Jambô to do English versions of the Secrets of Arton, the videos that I'm making, that I'm doing, participating right now. Yeah, that would be awesome.
That does not sound that hard because
Yes, I agree.
the art's done. The text is not that extensive. When both is written, we can translate it. We actually have, of course, the main translating team is very good, but I actually the main translating team is great because one of them I chose. And so I love her. But we have one of our authors, one of our writers in Atlas of Arton is Thiago.
Yes.
Thiago is a great translator.
He's a fantastic
He knows
translator.
so much and has such a, I don't know, huge vocabulary. I wanted him. I told him I know his pain. Because I've also been like, okay, I want to translate, but I also want to write. But I wanted him to translate a little bit more, but he has to write.
Yeah. Like I told Guilherme that I would be willing to also work on the text if the company Soul
Yeah,
Desires. I do have
course.
experience writing in English. And most of us here at the End of Times, including the ones that are not here today with us, most of us work at the voice acting industry. Like I'm the one with the least amount of experience, probably. I do have some.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
and-
I would not have talked so much if I knew it.
Yeah. and I got Alex, who have directing experience, to vouch that if you ever do the videos in English, I should be the one narrating them in English.
Yeah, that's a given.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
no.
that's-
I'm gonna pitch that. You know, we have to do it like to be known. You know, to spread our
Yes.
our vision.
Yes, make the story.
Our Tormenta
go
corruption.
places.
Yeah.
Everything has to be
Yes.
LeFou at the end of the day, right?
Oh yeah, 2 out of 5 characters are so yeah.
Oh yeah, we have to look forward to the party.
UFO and a
That's
fairy.
insane.
Right
Yeah,
off
and
the
like
bat,
my
yeah.
character is a Lefo who hates the Tormenta. His character is a Lefo who worships a Haradak. And I'm like, man, the day my character finds out, he's gonna kill the little guy, man. It's gonna be so cool. I already apologize in advance because it's probably
Will he,
going
though?
to happen.
Will he though?
That's
Yes.
also why you made it like, hey, I'm gonna talk to Bucko, our
Oh, yes.
Minotaur, and just Make
I'm not
sure.
below playing, fighting dirty.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna behead your character. It's gonna be amazing. Everyone's gonna like it. It'll be a very
then-
enjoyable experience.
By then I'll be a swarm, and you won't have anything to behead.
Oh, I'm gonna buy a powerful can of insecticide. It's gonna be.
Oh yeah, that's my kryptonite. Yeah.
I allow it.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Get on it.
There was
now.
this distinction that were published at the magazine at Dragão Brasil. That was for barbarians of the Howling Mountains. That's exactly where I'm from. I'm gonna get the distinction. I'm gonna get some of the powers that make like really cold or something. I don't remember if there actually is such powers. It's gonna happen. Yeah. Forget it, man. You better make a new character sheet already. It's gonna
I have it. I have
It's gonna
it.
happen. It's gonna happen.
From the moment I saw you hated the Tormenta, I'm like, okay, back to the drawing board. But yeah, I was actually. You mentioned that you had some like regional stuff, and I saw that one of the extended goals. I think the last one that you beat earlier today is about that, and not having played actually played the other editions. I don't know if you already had something like that, like before.
Yeah.
Probably so. Yeah. And
This was one of the like on the main things of the system before. People
How does it work? I'm actually curious.
It's like that. The actual kingdoms, the actual realms, they were very focused on one thing. You know, there was the kingdom of of chivalry. There was the kingdom of intrigue, and to the point that the grumpy people who hate it, they call the theme park kingdoms.
Yeah.
And I always it does not sound like an insult. Like their theme park sounds fun, but and so the kingdoms were so like I said, focused and so specific, and they had a type of character associated with them and a type of personality. And so the three original authors, Cassaro, Trevisan, and Saladino, they came up with the concept of regional feats. You know, it was D20 at the time. And so you could buy a feat only at first level and only if you were from that kingdom. And it helped differentiate your character. For instance, if you were from the kingdom of chivalry, You could do more damage with a lance, some kind of stuff, D20 stuff. And we actually did away with that for a long time because we've changed the system twice since then. We've updated the system. First time it was because D&D changed from 3.5 to 4th edition, and 4th edition was not well received in Brazil, and I personally really did not like it. And we figured we needed to have our own D20 based system, and then took us some time to publish everything we needed first, and then the regional feats came back, and people once again loved them. And now we have Tormenta 20, which is a more robust and streamlined system, but we once again do not have the regional feats. But we have now the concept of origins, which is more seems more like what they were trying to do originally. And so but the origins are more generic,
Yes.
And so it just cracks that we would have like regional origins specific for each realm. And now we have so many more of them because originally there were a lot of regions in Arton that they were there in the map, and we had some idea of what they were, but they were never explored, they were never described. And now they are. So we have the opportunity to not only have the origins from those original theme park realms, but also from like the desert, or from Doharim, that's the kingdom of dwarves, or from Lamnor, there's a whole continent that's taken over by goblinites. And so it's one more way for you to customize your character, because characters in Tormenta have always had the reputation of being weird. Ever since this was seen as actually bad in Brazil, because serious role players only liked the traditional stuff, and Tormenta was always weird. And now I think the paradigm is shifting, not only in Brazil, but from what I see in other countries, back to that pulpy high weirdness stuff that was popular in the 70s and early 80s with, I don't know if you guys know this, but if in one of the original RPG settings of the original creators, one was called Blackmore. And when they published Blackmore, the concept was no one knew what was inside of Blackmore. It was the DM was supposed to come up with it. And the creator, which was one of the two creators of RPGs, in his Blackmore, there was a flying saucer. And so the first guy was not traditional. So this traditional, head and stuff, this is not actually old school RPGs. And I think from what I see, we're going back as an audience to that high weirdness stuff. And Tormenta always valued that. Not so much the mixing of genres. I love it, but Trevisan, for instance, hates it. And he always, has a stomachache when I say stuff like that. But and the characters are supposed to be very unique. It's not supposed to be like a homogenous group, but each one's supposed to be very focused and very different from everyone around them. And I think one of the reasons people liked the regional feats so much and they asked for the regional origin so much is because it helps you to customize your character and to make them very, very, precise, unique. There's one realm that people have eyes of different colors, and you could purchase powers with your eyes. It was, it was different, but like you could see magical auras, or you could, I don't know, I don't remember anymore, but it was disruptive stuff from first level,
Well, I just started reading your novels recently, and they show up prominently in the beginning of the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I was like, where are those stuff? Like, I kept like thinking that there were stuff that weren't yet in the Tormenta 20 material, and
it used to be around here.
Yeah.
This is custom made, by the way. This is not an official product. Just a disclaimer.
Oh boy. Yeah, I remember doing that kind of research, like trying to find out more about the locations. When I wrote like a short story for GM Alex here for my character. And I'm one of those, sorry. And I actually specifically chose a place where there weren't any information, because I was thinking like, well, heck, I don't know anything about it. I might as well like miss all the marks. So I'm gonna pick somewhere kind of hidden away and just make shit up. So but I do like that, having that granularity, like putting stuff there for people to kind of identify and go, that's what I'm looking for.
Like, man, it doesn't make sense, all the seriousness that people like to think, because like it's not originally from role-playing games, but people have been playing in Lankmar since forever, and it's very weird. It's a very weird place, and I love it. And like, why people are taking themselves so seriously? It doesn't make sense. It's a game. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you have fun and do it? It's the point of it.
For me, for my group, it was a very teenage stuff. It was trying to be what we thought was more adult.
Yeah.
But we did have a lot of fun. It was not like all serious, but we thought we were supposed to. We thought that we were supposed to be more like that traditional fantasy, and it was so weird. It did not make any sense. Teenagers do not make any sense, because we were all like punk rock or alternative kids, but we like the traditional fantasy. Why?
I mean, you should be playing Vampire the Masquerade. That's what all the edgy kids were playing.
All the edgy kids were playing.
Oh, we did. Dude, we did play a lot of Vampire.
I played so much Werewolf the Apocalypse. So much.
Yeah, and it was actually cold where I lived, and so we would, wear the trench coats and the boots.
Oh, please have pictures of this.
Not anymore, dude.
Art, man.
He's like, no way.
I'll find your
You ain't seen those.
and dig it out.
Put this in as an extended go, like picture of young Leonel wearing a trench coat playing Vampire.
Edgy Leonel. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But it's like this seriousness now does not make sense when you actually stop to think about it.
I do think it's kind of something also not limited to teenagers, but there's this stigma that nowadays is kind of finally, I hope, being surpassed, of like, oh, it's a game, it's a silly thing, like why would you do it as a grown up?
Yeah.
And then there's maybe that pushback for people who get who hears that and try to make their game serious, so people take them serious for doing that.
Dignified,
Yeah, so it's not like
I don't understand why people do it. I just I just hope they get to the point where they can enjoy themselves however they want, they like.
At the end of the
Remember
day,
that
the
it's a
system
game.
allows for people. Yeah, the system allows for people to play however they want. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually did play a campaign. Guilherme game mastered for us Pendragon, and this is a very like traditional knightly mythic fantasy RPG. And there was not a lot of mixing of genres because the game does not actually support that. And we did have a lot of fun. But, Pendragon is something else. Like the work of Greg Stafford, which is like a legit boss. Unfortunately, passed away a few years ago. Was a legit genius and a scholar and like an Arthurian academic and scholar. The guy was like really an artist, and he made another setting which is Glorantha, which has a race of intelligent ducks, and the ducks are barbarians. And so it's not that the guy was like all serious. It was like, okay, Pendragon is serious. Glorantha has the ducks. It was like Bronze Age and with the barbarian ducks.
It makes so much sense,
I'm gonna have to play that.
especially after you meet the Canadian goose. It makes so much sense.
Goose, swan, most mallards.
Those things are vicious.
They all have teeth.
Yeah.
You literally like have serrated beaks, right? Isn't that like a thing?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird, man. It's weird. But yeah, ducks, barbarian ducks, that's so awesome. I never heard
It
of
is.
that, and now I really want to play it.
Yeah, I actually I do not know Glorantha. I read stuff about it, but I have to actually sit down and read Glorantha. It's one of those settings, that you should read, at least read it.
I have the wiki already up here for later reference. I really want to know.
Yeah.
I think it's like Call of Cthulhu. It's like you have to actually at least know what it is, because it's so weird and so classic.
And for people who don't know, Leonel also DM'd a very famous campaign of Call of Cthulhu in Brazil. Like, huge stuff. There are actually 2 novels about it that are historic fiction, so it sets in the real world, but with creative liberties. It's fiction, so yeah. So dude is very versatile.
I did not know what I was getting into. For context, this there's this huge podcast in Brazil called Nerdcast, which is the same name of the political podcast, but a whole different thing. And they did Nerdcast RPG, which was an actual play that was recorded and edited, and the guys are like you guys, like audio specialists. And then they asked me a few years ago to DM for them, and they wanted to do a Call of Cthulhu campaign because they had already done fantasy and cyberpunk. And at the time, I was finishing a Call of Cthulhu campaign for my home group, and they did not know that. And it was things, merged so perfectly. And then we did that. It was a huge, really, really well received. People, there were millions and millions of downloads. And then we did a crowdfunding campaign for products, having to do with this universe. There was a game book, like a choose your own adventure book, made by Karen, which is also the author from Tormenta. There was a comic adaptation of the story of the podcast and these two historical novels. And it was way more work than I thought. That's it. That's the one.
I love this cover so much. And can you guys imagine that the guy released 2 books? This is the shorter one in less than 1 year.
No. You are. They were released, but I wrote this one,
I said
and then
released.
you said release, but I wrote this one, and it sat for a year while we did the crowdfunding stuff, and then I wrote the second one, which is bigger and more difficult because there's stuff that does not exist in Portuguese or in English, only in German, and I almost died.
Yeah, you should tell the story of like I had to move to Germany to learn the language. I know it wasn't because of that, but you can say, just to make the story more interesting.
No, but it was actually the opposite because I moved to Germany for a year and a half to be with my wife. She was doing her PhD in criminal law in Germany, and we moved there together. And we went to a small city, which is called Osnabrück, and it's like no one knows the city, not even in Germany. It's like a whatever city. But so many important historical events happened in this goddamn city. Like, it was the first... how do I say that in English? Archdioceses, can I say that? That Charlemagne established was in this city. The first one. It had
Diocese? Is that what you're?
Archdioceses, yeah.
Archdiocese. Yep.
Diocese.
Archdiocese,
It's. It was in the
specific
city.
word.
Yeah, so come on, it's a very specific word.
It's a very specific word. I was just like, I think this is what it is here. I have one use, and that is native English speaker.
Yeah, it's it's where the archbishop works.
Yeah, the archbishop shop. Let's go. And the Charlemagne has had a very important battle there, and in the 1700s, there was like a treaty signed there, like the Peace of Westphalia, that basically shaped Western politics until today. There was a battle there that shaped a large part of the Roman Empire. And some people say that the concept of Germany was formed in that battle, like but no one knows the city. And for me, that was so fascinating, because if you talk to a German person like Osnabrück, nah, never heard. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, it's like it's the Schrute farms from Germany.
Yeah, yes, the Schrute farms of Germany. And like the Schrute farms, it's the city of peace, because I remember in the Civil War, Schrute farms was a place of peace. Yeah. And so I wanted I have to write about it, and I also the city welcomed us so much because it's an immigrant city nowadays. They have a lot of foreign people there, and then I wanted to write about it, and so I chose these specific moments in the city's history and intertwined with like this horror stuff, but was actually like an excuse to talk about the city. And I don't know, I think I've actually met one person that had heard of Osnabrück that besides me or my wife here in Brazil. So it's like, okay, I'm doing a service.
They should, build a statue of you there.
Yeah.
I've actually tried to get in contact with them, like with the city hall, but I don't know. A friend of mine is trying to talk to the local paper, perhaps.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're like, why are so many Brazilians coming here? Like, that's strange. Like the
Could be,
tourism
right?
board is
Could
like,
be.
what? Did we like release
Why?
something there? No.
Why did the Brazilians know about our?
How did they find out?
How did they find out about the horrors that live beneath us? It's supposed to be a secret.
Oh boy.
My goodness.
Yeah, you should write a sequel about Charlemagne like hiding away the city from everyone else. So I like.
No,
they must
it
not
is
know.
there. It is there. The reason for no one to know about it.
Oh, that's great.
I'm actually looking at Germany's map, trying to see if I find it without actually typing the name of the place. But
It's near Cologne or
oh yeah,
Amsterdam.
there we go. Yeah,
Or Bielefeld.
or Bielefeld. Yeah, I was actually going close to Dortmund, and I was like, it sounds like a place that would be close to Dortmund. But yeah,
It's because it's like a little piece of Lower Saxony that, like, a panhandle stuff. Like,
there it is. It's actually quite nice. It looks great.
yeah, it's
Pity.
very quaint, but it was destroyed in the war. So there's not many old buildings.
Nice. I mean, not that part. The city looks nice.
I was gonna say, well, not really.
The destruction sounds awful. War is always bad. Yeah.
It's most of Germany in World War II, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, talking about wars, and doing a segue back to T20. One of the peoples that intrigue me the most are the Fin trolls, which are the noble trolls. People might not know much about them, but basically they control the trolls because the trolls are usually the big brutes, and like the noble trolls are like these very smart people that kind of subvert the literal underground. Is this something that like has been approached somewhere that I haven't seen? Is this something that might be approached in these new books as well?
Well, there hasn't been actually like a major plot with the Fin troll because the main their main participation in the setting was centuries ago, I think, with the dwarves, like the call to arms, like when they invaded the kingdom of the dwarves, and every dwarf on the surface was called back to fight. And this is like lore, history. And they were actually allied to the bad guys, the purists, in the Artonian War, like the main war that happened 3 years ago. So this was like their main participation until now. Now that the Dwarven Kingdom is actually being explained and described, we may see more of them. But usually, those kinds of plots and big villains and these factions, they are used when someone from the team, either the main team or our other writers, they take an interest on them. So, for instance, Guilherme loves war stories. He used to DM Birthright for us, which is like AD&D's like game about big battles, and the characters are actually land lords. And so he did the Artonian War and brought to the forefront the purists, which are the non-human hating faction. And they were obscure villains up until that. Yeah, people did not pay much attention to them. They appeared in a comic, Lad, but most people did not associate Tormenta with them until an author brought them to the forefront. Same thing, as weird as it sounds, the Tormenta itself, in the beginning, it was not the main focus. It was like the main threat, but other parts, especially the god of treason, Zas, it was one of the main villains, and it was more focused on, how can I say, high magic, almost, anime stuff. And the Tormenta started to come to the forefront when I was brought in to do that. To do the trilogy with the focus on that element. And so I actually cannot tell you. Perhaps someone will come up with a big plot with the Fintroll. But what I can tell you guys is that for the foreseeable future, every plot we introduce is not gonna be like a world-changing plot, and it's not gonna be resolved by NPCs. It's like we wanna give the audience time to get used to Tormenta how it is now, and to play in it, and to have like adventures that not depend on epic stuff. So perhaps the Fintroll will come up more, but probably on more localized plots. Like I will not give any spoilers, I promise. But this campaign, End of Times, it's planned specifically to be played like without changing the world. You could, two groups could be a group could be playing End of Times, another group could be playing another campaign at the same time in the same setting. Let's say the DM is the same guy, but they will not necessarily interfere with one another. So we are more focused on that stuff, on that localized adventure stuff right now.
Very cool.
It is amazing. I love the mechanic for the discovering of the map. It's not really interesting, and it's exactly what you're saying now. Like that's the focus. Like two groups could be playing and not find the same stuff in the same time.
Yeah.
And I love the like the lore section that mentions people remember the Central Hills differently, because they even say stuff moving there, because of course they do. People play different games and stuff are not in the same place. And I think that is absolutely amazing. The kind of having the stuff set like in the setting, as the name says, for people like to build, but also like making people have like a very personal experience of this is my playthrough of that campaign.
It was supposed to be like that. Like for instance, Arlo, it became a major NPC in our campaign because people fell in love with them. And we have one of our players, Kat. She's from the Northeast, and she actually said, no, I find him endearing because he reminds me of my relatives. And I'm like, oh, who are your relatives?
Oh no.
So she saw the good in him.
Right.
And so he became like a major a major NPC, and it's like totally different. And the Central Hills themselves, they did exist, but there was like one or two paragraphs of description, and it was like, this is a place with a lot of monster hunters.
that.
Yeah, that's come here because it was like this is a very urban kingdom, like a very very settled kingdom, and then this was supposed to be the place for you to run wilderness adventures. And I picked it up and I thought, hey, are you guys, said to the other authors, are you guys gonna do something about this? No one was. Okay, I'm gonna put some stuff here.
That's so nice. I think it's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
And you actually confirmed one of my theories. I have been saying that publicly for some time now. Every time that someone from the fandom says like, oh, all the big mighty NPCs are either dying or becoming gods or something. And I'm been saying this for a long time. Like, they are letting the players solve the problems. They are shifting the focus for now for us to players to do stuff, for us to be heroes. And people are like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Of course it makes sense.
Yeah,
I said it.
I did say.
Of course it makes sense. I said it. And you said something about Arlo, and people are calling him by the wrong name on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny that he became so liked by the audience. And I hope that our American friends will be ready for season 2, because Baby Boat is coming eventually.
Dude, this is inexplicable. This is absolutely inexplicable. Like this throwaway NPC that I was actually embarrassed to say his name, because his name is Baby Thunderbolt, and he's like a completely ridiculous character, and people loved him so much, and I cannot explain it.
So many fan arts, man.
Yeah, if you actually put like Bebê Corisco, which is in Portuguese, it comes up, the fan arts come up, and I actually, I don't know, I do not know why I got into these things, but like I promised that I would cosplay him if we financed the project within 1 hour, and we did. And so now
So it's coming.
It's coming.
and my wife says, okay, but what is this character? Because she watched the first season, but not the second season yet. But like, what is this character? What's the deal with him? And like, I don't know. I do not know. But what does he do? Nothing. He does not do anything. It's just this guy they fell in love with. And okay, I cannot explain it, but he's coming. If you guys play the next arc, he's gonna come.
Yeah, I actually did a fan song about this character, and there's a part on the lyrics where I start to asking question like, can he do this? Can he do that? And the lyrics, they don't explain, and then they end the questioning with, if you don't ask, it's easier to be impressed.
Yeah. And the song is so cool.
It's a cool song.
Yeah. Victor, he does this, he calls them fan songs. He's like, they are so good because there's the second arc, I will not spoil it, but the second arc has more varied stuff, So there's this one character, like a goth, very goth, very moody. And so Victor did this song so amazing because when you hear the riff, it starts sounding like a surf rock riff, but it is not. It's like Bauhaus, and it's you get that cognitive dissonance, and like, I don't know, man. This was so good, and it's the mood. It's perfect. You don't even have to listen to the lyrics, which are also great. But the music sounds like the character, and the place would sound.
No, I appreciate
love
that, man.
And with Tormenta going like to other languages, we have to ask ourselves: is the word ready for Victor Lucky?
Oh, the word is not ready for me. If I ever translate the picture book that I did about the LeBlanc soup, it's
Oh my
it's
god, you
over
have
for
to do that.
everyone.
You have to do that.
Because so far my character drank, I think it was 8 doses
Yeah.
of the soup, and
I'm
I
right behind.
honestly don't remember what happens if I eat more. I don't remember, and I won't look it up.
Yeah, I've been trying to shoot myself from actually knowing because I'm just eating them by the bunch as well. We're both like, no, this is great stuff.
Great soup.
And the fairy
Yeah.
character is like, oh my god, keep that away.
Just sitting over there being like, consider it like an allergy. Just, I'm completely allergic. Don't get it anywhere near me.
That's a pretty a very big word for Crimson Void to understand this allergy thing.
You were really struggling with it, and I'm like, the answer is I'm giving you my soup. Just
Awesome. Yeah. And it was funny because on the episode that the soup appeared for the first time, it was the very same day, by coincidence, it was the very same day that I made chili for me. And then we went for a break, and when we were back, I was like, I had like a chili bowl, and oh yeah, soup.
Red Bull.
Good times.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So,
So, you guys have any more questions, or maybe the chat does?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
thinking
say,
about the
if
chat,
chat
but
had
I
any
lost my
questions.
connection on my PC. I don't know.
Nat is like saying Arlo is a weirdo Republican. No, come on.
yes, completely.
Come
Oh
on.
yes,
dude.
yeah.
On our,
Around
In
here,
our
he is.
version, he was a
In our
weirdo
version,
Republican.
He started talking, and we're like, nope. They're gonna take our guns.
No.
Oh yeah, bye.
Yeah, no, there was.
Literally
saying-
walked by him.
Yeah, we're like, no.
You're saying how in the like other stream, how it was like, oh, this person reminds me of my family, so like, I found it endearing,
But-
and then I was like, but I don't talk to the family. That reminds me.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that reminds me of my family. Let's not.
Yeah, those are the ones I
That's your
don't.
way. Yeah. No, we do have that, unfortunately, but it's like, I don't know, the stuff that I thought they were gonna run away from, they embrace. So, players.
Players.
Matt, you're asking when are we getting Tormenta 20 English? This was already answered. You should be here to listen to it, and if you were not, so sorry. And when is the great Leonel Caldela playing with us? That is a very good question, because I remember that I said to Leonel, you can be on our live today, but you have to come back to actually play it.
Yeah, I don't know when the great Leonel Caldela is gonna play, but the more or less Leonel Caldela is going to play actually soon. I think maybe if it's okay with you guys, and we manage to put our schedules together, I would love to play.
Well, as you know, it's a
It'd be
standing
an honor.
invitation. We are here every 2 weeks on Saturdays.
Yep.
I don't know if people are playing next in 2 weeks. I will probably not, but just don't be here when I'm not, because I want to play with you. That sounds like a great time.
Okay. No, I would like to have like the most players possible, because
Yeah, usually we have a full cast,
fun.
so
Yeah, we
I
do.
don't think that's a problem.
This is the first
Don't
time.
let him play it as a paladin. Oh no. No.
Actually,
No.
coming back to that, it was funny to me to hear that you like playing paladins and this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know why. It's just I would think of you as more like a warlock guy. Like,
No, I hate magic, dude. Like I like hidden stuff.
Oh man, like you guys were not there. I was. You can actually check that. There's a paleontological evidence of my presence. But on the Guilda do Macaco, he was a paladin, Lothar, and it was so good. It ruined paladins for Leonel forever, I think, because that was the best character. It was so funny. And Leonel used to roll so bad.
So
Like,
bad.
so
I
bad.
was just thinking, I was like, the person who's like, I like to hit stuff, and I'm like, that is the person who has to roll well. I do not roll well, so I love the magic stuff because I can make other people roll.
Yeah. True.
We have one question
Well,
here.
you will feel right at home at only once because we rolled really bad.
Yeah, but the thing is that the dungeon master here also rolls bad in general.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny to watch, actually.
that's why we're alive. Yeah.
But that's a end of times thing, because on the other short adventures and one shots, you guys were rolling natural 20s
Oh, yeah.
all the time. And then no natural 20s anymore, just once. Here we go.
Well,
I
end
don't
of time.
remember much of
Brandon
those
isn't
one-shots.
playing with us, and Brandon isn't playing a bard because in
Oh, man.
Oh, there is
he
that.
was constantly
What?
just like
Yeah.
randomest thing where he was like, "This is not relevant to the plot at all." Natural 20.
Yeah, I noticed that.
There are players who do that. It's annoying.
So from the chat, we have a question asking about more races not explored on the core book. Playable races.
Yeah, they're coming. We do have. Well, to explain, there's this book, Threats of Arton, that it's focused on monsters and dangers. But we wanted it to be a book that would also be useful for players and even for people who only read, for instance, people who watch the streams or read the books, but don't play yet. So the first thing we did was put a lot of story and role playing and lore on the creatures, and the second was to insert in the book player content, and one of those things was playable races. There are a lot of known races that players are used to that are gonna come back as also monsters and playable characters. I'm not gonna be spoiling anything if I say, for instance, the Goblin Knights. Goblin Knights are a huge part of Tormenta. We have a whole continent for them, and so they're gonna be more kinds of Goblin Knights are gonna be playable races. But that's not all, because there are new races that are appearing on threats, and they're coming. One of them, I'm unfortunately not gonna be able to say which one it is, but one of them is so specific, and it's so weird that you would have a character from that race that immediately picked up an NPC from End of Times, and I turned them into this race because it was so tempting. No, I have to do it. And since Tormenta has been going on since '99, we did have playable races which are not in the core book. For instance, Sea Elves were a playable race. Sky Elves, which were winged elves, were a playable race. Centaurs, Nagas, which are people with instead of legs. Yeah, instead of legs, they have a snake
Serpent body,
tail.
yeah.
Serpent body. Yeah, thank you. And all of those races have appeared on Tormenta, and when we did the core book, we allowed the public to vote on which races would be present, and the audience chose those ones. The ones you guys see. There's an exception to that, which was I did perform a coup, and but in my defense, it was before. It was not at that time. It was a laughing matter. No, no one thought an attempt could happen in real life. But we did have like the races that were chosen by the public, and we had like the runners up, and we did like a second round of voting with the runners up. But and each one of us, the authors, the main authors, was supposed to represent one runner up in a debate. When we had a mediator and everyone wore ties to do the whole shtick, and I was supposed to speak for the centaurs, but even though they were not really runners up, they were like third place. There was one race that got more votes than the centaurs because of the way the election happened, and those were the skeletons, the Ostian, and I loved them, and I was like a big advocate for them, and so I did not tell anyone anything. But when the debate started and it was my turn to speak, I took off my tie and I picked up Dia de los Muertos skull. And I did, no, this is the Skeleton Revolution. No gods, no masters, and no flesh. And I actually subverted the whole thing. And the Austin won the election.
Yeah. Good times.
Good time.
I remember that I did back then. Everyone was making memes like it was an actual electoral campaign, and I made a video for the skeletons against the sky elves. And the main platform that I was saying is that skeletons are good for the environment because we are recycling bodies. Vote skeleton.
Skeleton green.
Yeah.
Remember that character sheet? You don't need to rip it away anymore.
Yeah.
Just reuse it.
Change the race.
The funny thing about this question about the extra race is that Rebecca asked specifically about an amphibious race like Kururu here in our End of Times. And actually, yes, like that's the one thing that they actually announced, the publisher of the Tabrashi. So that's out there. Yeah, we're gonna have frog people.
Frog people.
That's cool. I play as a frog people in my other End of Times campaign. It's awesome. It's homebrew,
but you did not know there was gonna be Tabrashi.
Oh, I had no idea. It's a homebrew. We based it off the Triton, and it's awesome because he was actually in my character's background. He was adopted by a noble family from Bielefeld, and he's like the heir of the family, the only son. So he's rich and he talks, oh yes, I'm doing business today and stuff like that. That's awesome. It's very fun. It's a very fun character to play.
One thing I need to take the time to say is all this started because I wanted to play Tormenta with my American friends from work, like Sydney, who were playing other games with me. And then Natalia, who's in the chat, unfortunately is not with us today, was like, let's stream it, like let's do the streaming in English. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And then Leonel make the call online, like people should play it, and we're like, all right, this is it, like here we go. And then we did, and we're really excited about it. Obviously, like Moina already said, if you guys want whatever I have written down in English, you guys can have it. If we can help in any way, let me know, because I would love to spread this to my other American friends who I also want to be able to play without me having to translate the game in the meantime.
Thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much. This is so cool. One of the things I have been saying for years in our meetings with the publisher, that I love the Call of Cthulhu and Pendragon, like I said, which are both published by Chaosium. I think it's Chaosium. I don't know. And in Call of Cthulhu, people usually don't play their own adventures. Of course, you do, but the main adventures of each group are usually the published ones, and the campaigns that are very famous campaigns like Masks of Nyarlathotep and like Horror on the Orient Express. And there's one Call of Cthulhu adventure that is The Haunting. That is an adventure from '81 that every game master, every Call of Cthulhu game master runs. I did run it, and it's always a blast. And so there's this sense of camaraderie. There's shared experience. The groups can actually compare. So, oh, where did you die in The Haunting? Oh, I died with the flying knife. Okay, it's very classic Call of Cthulhu stuff. And I wanted, and I think this is a great way of bringing the community together. Having this experience. And I saw it in Coração de Rubi, which is the first campaign that we published. It was from level 1 to 20 in one book, with the main book in the first crowdfunding campaign. And I saw that people were streaming it, and so, and I may be wrong, but I don't think the authors. I was not one of the authors of this campaign, but I don't think the authors actually saw this coming. Saw this streaming thing coming so strongly. And so for End of Times, I was actually able to think this beforehand. I wanted it to be played, of course, and I wanted it to be streamed because I wanted to have this experience, this Call of Cthulhu experience of people comparing notes. Did you hate this character? Did you love this character? Did someone die here? We actually had a TPK in the first. No, not the first big combat. The first big combat, one other group almost had a TPK, but we had in a very tough combat in one of adventure you guys haven't played yet. We had a TPK. One of the groups died, the whole group. And I asked the DM, and he told me, no, they were fooled by this NPC, and they fell into this trap, and they rolled badly in this situation. And people were talking to him and comparing notes. And this is so great for me. And so this is all to say, what you guys are doing is so special for me, because the first step to, bringing more people into this community, to share more war stories and have this experience be even larger. We didn't think Tormenta was going to be this, and it took a long time. But perhaps a long time from now, we can have some of these adventures, some of these campaigns be not so universal, because I think this is impossible, but have a fraction of the reach of a Call of Cthulhu classic adventure or campaign, that we have people from other parts of the world sharing stories. I can share my story of The Haunting, the first Call of Cthulhu adventure, with someone who ran it in '81. When I ran it, I told my group, only me and one other guy, we are the only ones that were born when this adventure was published. The rest of the group hadn't been born yet. And so it's a generational thing. It's a lofty goal, but I think maybe we can achieve it. And I think what you guys are doing, it's a main part of this, because not only are you part of the community, you are actively expanding the community. I think it's great, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, we're excited, man. And obviously, yes, standing invitation. Come and play with us whenever you want, or if you want to DM stuff. Just putting it out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. If you ever do, like, it doesn't even have to be on End of Times Day. It can be whenever.
I can even play a paladin. I hate them, but I'll do it for you.
You're gonna like them too. You're gonna everyone likes them.
No,
in the
man,
end.
I
paladins
am
are
doing
awesome.
that.
And oops, all
I'm starting to
paladins.
play paladins just to spoil them for everyone else.
No, man, paladins are awesome. I'm playing a paladin on Coração de Rubi, and we're level 15, and it's so good, so great. I love it. It's so different from me because I'm an evil person, and the paladins like good.
If you kill Gran, you'll see one. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I guess it. Well,
Cool. I mean, if nobody has any more questions, I think I need to let the cast go. Leonel, thank you so much, man, for coming and chilling with us.
Thanks for having me. It was really a blast. I was looking forward to it.
Thank you.
We were very excited to have you here. Thank you so much. Sorry, Alex.
you, man.
Let's keep going.
No, yeah, I just wanted to say, with all the technical problems in the beginning, I forgot to let you guys introduce yourselves.
Oh yeah. No, it's not because of you. Not because of the problem. Because I never stop talking. You know, it does happen. You guys have to stop me. It's not kidding.
I promise I
No
won't.
promises.
Yeah.
Yeah, no promises.
I'm cool.
So yeah, Guilherme Moina, playing with us from Brazil as well. Sidney Gernat, amazing player, amazing GM, first American that we know to ever GM Tormenta 20. We will release it someday. It is recorded. Victor
Yeah,
Lucky.
do it. We can like do a premiere in like Jambô's channel. It's gonna be cool.
Whoa.
All right.
Okay. I guess we'll have to do it.
Yeah. I guess back to work.
Thank you.
I'll fix all the
And of
technical
course, Victor
errors
Lucky.
my own computer created.
And yeah, Natalia also, as she left, she said a big thanks for everybody.
Why are we listening to her? She's not here.
Her girl's like working and stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. We don't know yet. Might be a one shot. I'm not sure yet what's gonna happen, but we'll see you next time.
See you, everyone. Thank you so much.
See ya. Thank you.
Bye.